Hello, students. Welcome back to your English class once again. Hope you are all enjoying your grammar lessons. In our last video, we studied grammar topic 2, sentence and phrase. In this video, we will study a new topic, subject and predicate. Okay, this is our third topic in grammar. Now we'll study the topic subject and predicate. Subject means, let's check what we mean by subject. When we write a sentence, we refer to a person or thing and say something about that person or thing. So, every sentence consists of two distinct parts. Okay, let's check it once again. When we write a sentence, we refer to a person or a thing. Okay, keep in mind these two words. Whenever we write a sentence, we refer to either a person or a thing in that sentence and say something about that person or thing. So whenever we write a sentence, okay, we refer to a person or a thing and we say something about that person or thing. So every sentence consists of two parts. When we write a sentence, we refer to a person or thing, or a person or a thing, and we say something more about them. That means in every sentence, it consists of two parts, two distinct parts. Now we'll check here what are those two distinct part of the sentence. The part which names the person or thing we are speaking about, this part is called subject. Okay, now say what you mean by subject. Our main topic is subject and predicate. And now here we'll study what you mean by subject. Okay, the part which names the person or thing. We said the first part, when we refer to a sentence, we refer to a person. When we write the sentence, we refer to either a person or a thing. Okay, the part which names the person or thing we are speaking about, okay, this part is called subject. Okay, now what do you mean by subject? Subject means the part of the sentence that referring to the person or thing that we are speaking about. So that part of the sentence is called the subject. Let's say example, the part which tells us something about the subject. Okay, the part which tells something about the subject, and this part is called the predicate. So here you understand now what I mean by predicate. The first part, we are speaking about the person or thing. So that part is called the subject. And the next part, the second part, the part which tells us something about the subject. The part which tells us something about the subject. Okay, this part is called the predicate. Let's make it very clear now once again. The part which names the person or thing we are speaking about. Okay, the part which is naming the person or the thing. So that part of the sentence is called the subject of the sentence. And the second part, the part which tells us something about the subject. The part is telling something more about the subject. Okay, that part is called the predicate. So in the first part you studied two things, that is the subject and predicate. The subject part, there you studied the person or the thing that we refer when we write a sentence. Okay, and then we understand there are two distinct part of the sentence. What are the two distinct part of the sentence? Okay, that parts are called subject and predicate. The part which names the person or the thing, so that part is called the subject. And the other part, the part which tells us something about the subject or the predicate, some subject or that's a thing, about the subject, the person or the thing. So that part is called the predicate. The part which tells us something about the subject, this part is called the predicate. Let's check it out. We'll see examples now. Example number 1. A dog is a faithful animal. Example 2. The birds sat on the branch of a tree. The third example, Sachin is an amazing cricketer. Okay, let's take example number 1 once again. A dog is a faithful animal. The first part, the underlined portion, a dog. A dog, either the name, we said a name of a person or a thing. So here, dog is the naming part. And that part we call as subject. And is a faithful animal is something more is said about the subject. So this part is called a predicate. That means the part which names the person or the thing. Okay, this portion, this is called the subject, a dog. And the part from here to the end of the sentence is a faithful animal. This is the predicate. When you are asked to divide a sentence into subject and predicate, copy the sentence and you can put a line, and on top of this you can write subject, and after this line, this part you can write predicate. Let's take the second example. The birds sat on the branch of a tree. Okay, here the subject is the underlined portion, the birds. Okay, and the predicate portion is sat on the branch of a tree. The first part is the naming portion, okay, the name of a person or a thing. And then the second part is telling us more about the subject, sat on the branch of a tree. So about the birds more is said. So that part is the predicate. The last example is the name of a person, Sachin. Okay, Sachin is the subject of this sentence. And what is said about Sachin? Sachin is an amazing cricketer. Okay, you can see his batting. Okay, so Sachin is an amazing cricketer. So, is an amazing cricketer is the predicate, and Sachin is the subject in this sentence. So, is it clear to you all now? All the example, your subjects are a dog, the birds, and Sachin, and the predicates is a faithful animal, sat on the branch of a tree, is an amazing cricketer. These are the predicate of these sentences. Let's go to next page. Okay. Now, the subject of a sentence usually comes before the predicate, but sometimes it is placed after the predicate. So, in the back sentence, you are seen the subject of the sentence is placed before the predicate. Okay, subject here, dog, birds, and Sachin. This all placed before the predicate. Okay, predicate is here. Okay, predicate part this, and then it is put before that. Here, predicate is here, and birds put before that. The predicate is amazing cricketer, and before that Sachin is put. But in the some cases, some exceptional cases, we have to change the position of the subject. Okay, the subject of a sentence usually comes before the predicate, but sometimes it is placed after the predicate. Example, you can check the example number 1. Up went the ball, down goes the skydiver. You can see two part here underlined, the ball and the sky diver. And the naming part, you can see the ball. The subject is the ball here. Actually, in the sentence earlier we got first the ball went up, but now here it is written up went the ball. So ball is the subject is placed after the predicate. Here also again the same, down goes the skydiver. The skydiver is the naming part, and telling more about the skydiver, goes down, down goes down. So here the skydiver is a subject and predicate is down goes. So these two parts, in some cases, we place the subject after the predicate, and these two are the examples of that kind of sentences. Up went the ball and down goes the skydiver. So keep in mind, sometimes in rare cases, we have to place the subject after the predicate. Okay, now there are few points to remember about this, and let us check that right now. Points to remember about subject and predicate. When the subject is separated from the sentence, what remains is the predicate. Okay, when the subject when you remove or separated from the sentence, so what remains is the predicate. Okay, that means you have to first identify the subject and separate that from the main sentence, and the remaining part will be the predicate. The predicate must have a word. Okay, the predicate must have a word or words which show that what actions the subject does. So, okay, this is also another important point to keep in mind. The predicate must have a word or words which show what action the subject does, or which, okay, or which, let's see, the action or of which the something about the subject. Let's say either the part, a word can be there or a group of words can be there, and which show what the action the subject does, or which say something about the subject, or it says something about the subject. The part always, the predicate part always contain a word or a group of words, and which tells us what action the subject does, or it says something about the subject. So these 2 points you have to keep in your mind. What are the points? Remember now? Okay, when the subject is separated from the sentence, what remains is a predicate. The predicate must contain word or words which shows the action that the subject does, or which say something about the subject. Let's continue. Let's do an exercise here. Divide into subject and predicate. So we are getting an exercise here. Okay, let's check it. Divide into subject and predicate. Sentence number 1. The mouse released the lion from the trap. Sentence number 1. The mouse released the lion from the trap. Sentence number 2. Emperor Akbar could throw anyone out of his kingdom. Sentence number 3. The great Indian bustard can dance. Third one. Birbal indirectly told God Almighty is greater than Akbar the Great. Birbal indirectly told God Almighty is greater than Akbar the Great. We can do great things by patient trying. Okay, in this exercise, you have to write down the sentences, then you have divide into subject and predicate. And we already know very well now what you mean by a subject. In subject, we should have the naming part of a person or a thing. Okay, the remaining part, after removing the subject, the remaining part will be the predicate. In the first sentence, you can see, if you put a slash over here, then the mouse is separated. So that is, the mouse is the subject here. And the remaining portion, release the lion from the trap, that is a predicate. In sentence number 2, Emperor Akbar, the naming part, the subject of the sentence, Emperor Akbar could throw anyone out of the kingdom. So that means from here, could throw anyone out of kingdom, that is the predicate. So the subject is Emperor Akbar. And the next one, the Great Indian Bustard. You can see the subject can be sometimes one word or a group of words. You can see the Great Indian Bustard. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 words. So these 4 words together make the subject here. The Great Indian Bustard can dance. Can dance is the predicate. The fourth sentence, Birbal. Birbal is a subject here. Birbal indirectly told God Almighty is greater than Akbar the Great. And the last one, we. Okay, the last one is we, the subject. We can do great things by patient trying. These sentences are all taken from your lessons, your Balbharati textbook. So you can read it again, you write these sentences and divide these sentences into subject and predicate. Now here you have to see there is one more exercise, and this exercise is fill in the blanks choosing suitable subject from the given list. Okay, fill in the blanks using suitable subject from the given bracket, from the list. So there is a list of words are given. Okay, you have to choose them rightly and then you have to complete the sentences. Fill in the blanks choosing suitable subject from the given list. The list I'll read once again for you. One good turn, a rolling stone, too many cooks, moving air, empty vessels, a thing of beauty. The first one is dash make much noise. 2. Dash is called wind. Third one, dash gathers no moss. 4. Deserves another. 5. Spoils the broth. Spoil the broth. Sixth one is a joy forever. Now you have to select which one is correct one. Okay, the first one is dash makes much noise. Okay, you check from the list which one may suit from here, and you can find out this group or this subject here. Empty vessels. Okay, empty vessels make much noise. It's a proverb. Okay, empty vessels make much noise. And the next one second is called wind. Okay, here it is given. See, moving air. This is the right answer. Moving air is called wind. And the third one, gathers no moss. A rolling stone gathers no moss. That's the correct answer, a rolling stone. And the fourth one is deserves another. A good turn deserves another. That's the right one. It's gone once again. Let's check it again. Yeah, it is back. Okay. A good turn deserves another. And the fifth one, dash spoils the broth. You can say this, too many cooks spoil the broth. The last one, dash is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. I hope all of you understood this. Now you have to revise it, complete once again this exercise and write the correct answer in the blank space and underline the blank space which right to answer you, or don't write the mix-up list and all. You copy the complete sentence with the correct answer and underline the correct answer portion. Okay, boys? Okay, hope everything is clear to you. This small topic we complete here. Okay, and this lesson, I hope all of you understood, and you watch the video again and write down the important points and revise it again